Have you ever really stopped to think about how incredibly fragile our civilization is? One flick of a switch, and everything we've built, everything we take for granted, could vanish. Today, we're going to dive into a chilling, yet incredibly important thought experiment. What if the internet went dark, globally? Not for an hour, not even for a day, but for an entire month. We'll explore 20 shocking stages that illustrate how our world could spiral from mild confusion into full-blown anarchy. And trust me, it's far more terrifying than any disaster movie you've ever seen. By the way, do you think you could handle it? Let us know in the comments what day without the internet would be your breaking point. Now, let's begin our descent into the dark. Before we start the countdown, let's take a moment to truly grasp the scale of what we're talking about. The internet isn't just social media feeds and cute cat videos. It's the invisible nervous system of our entire planet. Trillions of dollars course through its veins every single hour. It controls power grids, water systems, traffic lights. It underpins global supply chains, from the factory assembling your smartphone to the grocery store where you buy your bread. GPS, communication, healthcare, government administration, all are intricately linked to this global network. So, when we talk about the internet going dark, we're talking about this entire nervous system ceasing to function completely, globally. The clock then begins its ominous countdown. Day 1. Stage 1 begins. Global confusion. It's the morning of day 1. You wake up, reach for your phone, but your Wi-Fi isn't working. Neither is your mobile data. You assume it's just a glitch with your internet provider. You glance out the window and see your neighbours, equally bewildered, staring at their phones. Phones aren't ringing. Messaging apps are silent. The city plunges into an unsettling, unfamiliar silence. There's no hum of notifications. People start heading out into the streets trying to figure out what's going on. Crowds begin to gather at the offices of cellular carriers and internet providers. But no one has any answers. There's no full-blown panic yet, just widespread confusion and growing frustration. Most people are convinced it'll all be fixed within a couple of hours, but they don't yet realise this is only the beginning. Day 2 brings financial paralysis. You go to the supermarket, fill your basket, but your card gets declined at the register. The payment terminal can't connect to the bank. You try to get cash from an ATM, but it's offline too. That's when the harsh reality hits. All the money in your accounts has become nothing but digits on a worthless screen. The global financial system, built entirely on instant electronic transactions, is completely paralysed. Stock markets remain closed. International trade grinds to a halt. Companies can't pay wages. The entire economy has frozen solid. Suddenly, those with a stash of physical cash at home are the new kings. For everyone else, the age of bartering has begun. Day 3, and an information famine has taken hold. While television and radio are still on, their reach is severely limited. Journalists are unable to source news from other cities or countries. The news feeds are bare. All channels can broadcast are local stories, gathered by reporters who often had to reach the scene on foot. Into this vacuum, rumours rush in, each more terrifying than the last. Some whisper of a solar flare, others of a cyber attack, and some even of war breaking out. Slowly but surely panic begins to spread through the cities, passed from person to person by word of mouth. People huddle in groups around old radio sets, desperate to catch any signal, any scrap of truth. But there is no truth, only speculation and fear. By day 4, the world's transportation systems have utterly collapsed. Those infamous traffic jams you once despised, you'd kill for them now. Every single modern logistics system has crumbled. Air traffic controllers are unable to coordinate flights or receive vital weather data. Thousands of aircraft worldwide are now permanently grounded. Railways too grind to a halt. Their automated switch and signal systems now defunct. Ports fall silent. Without digital systems, tracking and unloading containers becomes an impossible task. Even basic traffic lights in major cities fail, plunging roadways into unimaginable chaos. The intricate global supply chains that once delivered goods worldwide have completely shattered. The world is no longer global. It has fractured into isolated cities and towns, cut off from each other. Day 5. Panic is rampant. The stark realization has finally hit everyone. This is going to be a long haul. People are frantically emptying store shelves, desperate to grab whatever's left. Non-perishable food, water, batteries, candles, medicine, it's all vanishing within hours. Fights are erupting over the last pack of pasta. Store owners are either closing their doors or bringing in security. Shelves that were brimming with abundance just yesterday now look as if a hurricane tore through them. It's at this very stage that the true nature of humanity emerges. Some are sharing their last provisions with neighbours, while others would do anything for a single can of food. The social contract that once held us together is beginning to unravel. Day 6 marks the onset of the energy crisis. Modern power grids are sophisticated, smart systems. They constantly balance power generation from various plants with consumer demand. Without centralised, internet-based control, the entire system begins to malfunction. This leads to overloads in some areas and power drops in others, triggering rolling blackouts. Initially lasting an hour, these outages quickly extend to several hours. Entire cities begin to go dark. The impact is immediate and devastating. Refrigerators fail, water pumps stop, and critical hospital equipment goes dark. The absence of electricity isn't just an inconvenience, it's a terrifying step back to the 19th century. 1 week has passed. Day 7 marks the end of the remote work era. Millions of programmers, designers, managers, and analysts, everyone who once worked from home, have suddenly found themselves jobless. Their professions simply cease to exist. But this is only the tip of the iceberg. Factories that ran on automated equipment are now grinding to a halt. Offices whose very operations depended on databases and cloud services are shutting their doors. The global economy, already comatose after a severe financial paralysis, is now entering a state of clinical death. Billions of people across the world are left with no means of survival. Day 8. The medical system grinds to a halt. You arrive at the hospital, but the doctor can't find your medical history because all records were digital. He doesn't know what medications you're allergic to. Your test results are stored on an inaccessible server. Pharmacies can't order new medications because supply chains are disrupted. Sophisticated diagnostic equipment, MRI and CT scanners, needs constant network connectivity for updates and calibration. Without it, they're just piles of useless metal. Doctors are forced to rely solely on their experience and old paper textbooks. The medical field is effectively thrown back 50 years. Day 9, and we are witnessing the collapse of the law enforcement system. The police are losing their most vital function, coordination. While walkie-talkies might still function over short distances, there's no longer any centralised system. Patrol units are unable to communicate with dispatch. CCTV cameras, once vital for solving crimes, are now blind. Databases containing criminal records, fingerprints, and DNA. All of it has become inaccessible. Response times to calls are increasing exponentially, or in some cases, approaching infinity. The crime rate is soaring. Looting, robberies, and violence are becoming commonplace in areas the police simply cannot reach. By day 10, frantic efforts are underway to resurrect a paper world. Governments and state institutions frantically attempt to regain control, reverting to paper documentation. But it's a nearly impossible task. Almost every record, from property deeds and cadastral maps to personal identification and historical archives, had been digitised. Now imagine trying to prove home ownership, searching for a physical deed you likely haven't laid eyes on in 2 decades. Every public service quickly devolves into a bureaucratic nightmare, potentially dragging on for months. The world is rapidly descending into a chaos of missing documents and utter disarray. Nearly 2 weeks have passed. Day 12 brings a stark social divide. Society is fracturing into 2 distinct camps. On one side are the preppers, and those who had diligently stockpiled cash, food and fuel. They've come out on top, and now they call the shots. On the other side are all the rest, those who lived paycheck to paycheck and placed their complete trust in the digital world. They now find themselves teetering on the brink of survival. A black market has rapidly emerged where a single loaf of bread might cost a gold ring, and a jerry can of gasoline could demand your entire life savings. Old social statuses are utterly meaningless. Now all that truly matters is what you possess in your hands, here and now. Day 14. Life is becoming increasingly localized, with transportation systems non-operational and travel now dangerous. People are confining themselves to their own neighborhoods or small towns. Their world has shrunk to just a few blocks. On one hand, this has rekindled community bonds. Neighbors are finally meeting people they never noticed before, forming communal patrols and sharing what little food they have. Yet, on the flip side, suspicion and animosity towards outsiders are escalating. Every unfamiliar face is now perceived as a potential threat, a competitor for increasingly scarce resources. Cities are fracturing into numerous small, isolated, and often warring fortress-like enclaves. By day 16, an invisible yet deadly threat emerges, a full-blown water and sanitation crisis. We take clean water flowing from our taps for granted. However, this relies on complex systems of pumping stations and treatment facilities, all controlled by computers. Without centralized control, these systems begin to malfunction. Water pressure in the pipes plummets. In some areas, the water supply ceases entirely. Sanitation systems also falter, leading to contaminated water sources and outbreaks of disease. People are forced to resort to old wells or head to rivers, risking their health with every drop. Day 18. We are confronting the loss of knowledge. Imagine all the information humanity has accumulated over the past decades, stored in the cloud, on servers, in digital libraries, Wikipedia, scientific archives, Google Scholar, educational courses, all of it gone. All that remains is the knowledge held in human minds and old physical books. Students can't learn. Scientists can't conduct research. Engineers can't find critical blueprints. This isn't just an information drought. It's collective amnesia. We are rapidly losing our intellectual capacity, severed from our civilization's greatest achievement, our collective knowledge. Day 20. The psychological breaking point is upon us. We humans are social creatures, hardwired for connection, used to being online 24/7. But now we're utterly isolated. The outside world has vanished. No news, no contact with distant loved ones, none of our usual entertainment, no movies, music, or games. Only anxiety, endless monotony, and pervasive fear remain. People are experiencing profound sensory deprivation. This leads to widespread depression, apathy, and outbursts of unprovoked aggression. Our minds, accustomed to constant stimulation, simply can't cope with the silence and uncertainty. For many, their inner world is beginning to crumble, mirroring the collapse of the world outside. Day 22. We're seeing two distinct paths emerge: self-organization and anarchy. In some areas where community bonds remain strong, people are beginning to self-organize. They form local defense groups to protect against looters, organize the equitable distribution of dwindling resources, and set up makeshift schools for children. However, elsewhere, particularly in major cities, gangs are quick to fill the power vacuum. Brute force becomes the only law. The weak and vulnerable become their prey. The world is rapidly becoming a patchwork of isolated pockets of order amidst vast territories plunged into utter chaos. By day 24, an epidemiological threat takes hold. A perfect storm for disease outbreaks is brewing, fueled by a combination of critical factors: poor sanitation due to failing sewage systems, contaminated water supplies, a dire shortage of medicines, and the complete absence of early warning systems for epidemics. Any infection, be it cholera or influenza, could spread with terrifying speed, and there would be no one to contain it. We find ourselves utterly defenseless against threats we thought had been confined to the Middle Ages. A global pandemic in a world without the internet. It's a scenario almost too horrifying to contemplate. Day 26. Global awareness is fading. We once knew, in real time, what was happening on the other side of the planet. Now, we don't even know what's going on in the next town over. All ties between nations have been completely severed. Every country, every region, is left isolated, grappling with its own problems. The very concepts of global politics and international relations are ceasing to exist. The world once again feels vast and unknowable, much like during the age of great exploration. Yet this time, we aren't discovering new lands. We're losing touch with the ones we already knew. As the month draws to a close, on its 28th day, we witness the dawn of a new normal. Humanity's adaptability is truly remarkable. People are beginning to adjust to life without the internet. New professions are emerging, or more accurately, long-forgotten old ones are making a comeback. Think of couriers delivering letters between cities, news-gatherers collecting rumours and recounting them in town squares, and craftsmen specialising in the repair of old, non-digital tech. People are learning to live at a slower pace. They're starting to truly appreciate face-to-face interaction and life's simple pleasures. It's a brutal, difficult, yet in its own way, a brand new world. Humanity endures, but the cost of this survival is immense. And so, it's day 30. The point of no return. Imagine for a moment the internet miraculously comes back online today. What then? Do you believe everything would simply go back to the way it was? Far from it. In this single month, the infrastructure built over decades has been utterly decimated. The financial system lies in ruins, trust in it irrevocably broken. Supply chains are severed, and rebuilding them would take years. Millions of people have perished from starvation, disease, and rampant violence. Nations have weakened or simply collapsed. Even if the technology itself returns, could the old world ever truly come back? Most likely, no. This month would leave an indelible scar on the very fabric of civilization, a stark testament that our greatest strength was, all along, our most profound vulnerability. So, in just 30 days, we plummeted from a world of unparalleled convenience to the very brink of survival. Finances, logistics, healthcare, the very fabric of our society. Everything proved to be inextricably linked to that invisible web we call the internet. This thought experiment isn't meant to suggest that technology is inherently evil. Instead, it reveals our profound dependence and the inherent fragility of the systems we've meticulously built. We've grown complacent, forgetting just how thin the digital ice beneath our feet truly is. Thank you for joining us on this somewhat grim, yet hopefully insightful journey to its conclusion. If this video has given you pause for thought, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future thought experiments. Now for the crucial question. What single item from our online world do you think would prove to be absolutely indispensable in the very first days of such chaos? Not social media, but something truly essential. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you come up with.